In today's video, I'm going to show you what it looks like not only to be behind the steering wheel of a big rig, but I'm also going to show you the delivery aspect. And of course, being in Colorado, you already know you'll get to see some of that beautiful white powder.
How you think I got this suit?
No, not that type of white powder. I'm talking that Colorado snow. Welcome back everybody to Trashy but Classy. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Nick. If you're into trucking, jiu-jitsu, or firearms, this channel's for you. I've been sharing my journey in the world of garbage trucks, but recently, I've made a significant change in my career. Just a year ago, the only road I was driving was my neighborhood's trash route. The only scenery that ever changed was the color of the recycling bins. Now, I've gone from hauling garbage to hauling freight across the country. I traded the aroma of sour milk and shit diapers, and yesterday's news for the smell of diesel and diner coffee, 3 states away. Let me tell you how I did it. Feeling stuck? Are you in a job that pays the bills? A job you might even be good at. But it leaves you staring out of the window wondering, is this it? I get it. I know that feeling because I lived it for 15 years. 15 years of sunrises seen from the cab of the garbage truck. It was honest work, don't get me wrong. And there was a quiet pride in serving your community and being the guy who keeps things clean. I knew every crack in the pavement, every low-hanging branch on Elm Street. I was really a part of the town's heartbeat. But a different rhythm was calling to me. It was the low rumble of an 18-wheeler on the interstate that ran past the edge of the town. I'd be finishing my route, and I'd see them, these titans on the highway, rolling towards horizons I could only dream about. But they weren't just driving, they were on a journey. They were seeing the country, living a life of freedom that felt a world away from my predictable loop. For 15 years I watched them pass, and a question started to burn inside of me, a quiet whisper that grew into a roar. Why not me? My world was small, and yeah, it smelled a certain way. Sometimes good, sometimes not good. It was a world of 3 a.m. alarm clocks, sometimes 2:30 a.m. alarm clocks, slicing through the dark. The taste of instant coffee and the familiar thud of my work boots hitting the floor. The cab of my garbage truck was my office, filled with the scent of pine tree air fresheners fighting a losing battle against the ghosts of 1,000 trash days. My route was tattooed in my brain. Right on Maple, left on Oak. Let's go down Federal. Watch out for Mrs. Gable's poodle, then the long stretch by the industrial park. Rinse and repeat. For a long time there was a real satisfaction in it. It's physical, it's real, it's rewarding. You start the day with full bins, and you end it with the clean streets. You see the results of your work. And you also see the results of when you don't work, such as COVID. The streets got scary. The apartment buildings filled up with trash, so much that you couldn't even see the trash cans. I was proud of that. I was proud of my work. I was providing for my family. I had stability. A nice 401k on the horizon. My coworkers were a second family. We'd crack jokes over the roar of hydraulics and complain about the summer heat. And some of them I actually trained jiu-jitsu with. And also other outdoor activities. It was a life. It was a good life, by most standards. Especially making over 6 figures a year. But comfort can become a cage if you're not careful. The years started to blur together. The thud of the bins, the hiss of the brakes, the roar of the compactor. That was the only song I ever knew. The dream of the open road wasn't just about seeing new places. It was about challenging myself in a way that I hadn't in years. I felt like a machine, doing the same thing day in and day out. And I knew deep down I was more than that. Those big rigs on the highway weren't just trucks. They were everything my life wasn't. They were adventure. Different than the journey I was on now. They were the unknown. They were the freedom that I was craving. I'd sit at a red light, watch one thunder pass, and feel the mix of envy and longing. I was hauling trash to the dump, a place of ending. They were hauling freight to new cities, to new beginnings, into the mountains where I longed to be. I wanted a new beginning. I was 15 years into a career and finally admitted I wasn't fulfilled. I was just comfortable. And I was tired of being comfortable. I was ready for a change, even if it scared the hell out of me. The moment that changed everything wasn't something big. It wasn't a dramatic scene. It was a Monday. A rainy, miserable Monday in June. Every bin was overflowing. The water made it all heavier, and the smell was just, wow. I remember wrestling with the jammed bin lid, cold rain dripping down my neck, and I looked up and saw this sleek, blue Peterbilt cresting the hill on the overpass. It was just effortless, majestic, and in that moment, something inside of me snapped. It was a feeling of total clarity. I thought, I'm going to be 40, then 50, then 60, and I'll still be wrestling with the same bin on these streets in the rain. The thought didn't just scare me, it lit a fire under my ass. That night, I didn't just crash on the couch, I opened up my laptop. My search history became a roadmap, how to become a semi-truck driver. Truck driving schools near me, changing careers to trucking at 33. That's when I found the key. My experience driving a garbage truck wasn't a dead end, it was a launch pad. Because I was already driving a heavy, complex vehicle, I already had a Class A CDL, and that was it. Really the biggest hurdle for most people. The thousands of dollars and weeks of training was already behind me. I wasn't starting from zero, and I actually had experience already. I was starting with 15 years of professional driving experience, navigating tight city streets, handling a heavy vehicle in all weather, dealing with traffic, driving in the mountains, driving in the city, driving out in the country. That wasn't just my old job. It was my resume for the new one. Suddenly, the dream felt real. It wasn't a fantasy anymore. It was a plan. The fear was still there, a knot in my stomach. I had a mortgage, a family dependent on me, 4 little ones, 2 cats, 3 goldfish. But the fear of staying the same was finally greater than the fear of the unknown. I spent the next few weeks digging into it all. I read forums, watched videos, and learned all the differences between over-the-road, regional, local routes. Decided to call up a few friends. I knew I couldn't just jump into the long haul right away, so I decided to look for regional jobs, out for a few days, but still home regularly. It felt like the perfect first step. I updated my resume for the first time in a decade, turning trash collection into urban logistics and heavy vehicle operation. I was spinning my past to build my future. The moment of truth was hitting send on that first application. My heart was pounding. It's one thing to dream, but it's actually another to do something about it. A week later, I got a call for an interview. The interview itself was a test. The manager looked at my resume, raised an eyebrow and said, 15 years in sanitation? That's different, why the change? This was my first challenge. Making someone else believe in the dream. I didn't downplay my old job, I owned it. I talked about my perfect safety record, the awards I won, all of my training credibility, my ability to handle a large vehicle in the tightest of spots. I told him, sir, if you could back a garbage truck down a one-way alley at 3 a.m. without waking anybody up, you can handle just about anything. He chuckled, and I got the job. But getting the job wasn't just the start. The first enemy I faced was doubt. Some of my old coworkers thought, you're nuts. You're giving up all your seniority to go sleep in a truck? Little did they know this job provided hotel stays in super nice hotels. Their words stung because they were echoing my own fears. My family was supportive, especially my children. They loved to see their daddy driving these big trucks. But still, the money pressure was real. My starting pay was a step down. There were nights I lay awake. Sure, I made a huge mistake. Then came the test of the job itself. Those first few weeks were humbling. A semi is a whole different beast. It's longer, heavier, pivots completely different. The confidence I'd built over the last 15 years was gone. In the beginning, I was a little bit slower than the other drivers, but that was just a learning curve. The loneliness was a shock. I was used to being the banter of my old crew. Now it was just me on the road. The quiet was deafening. My allies showed up in unexpected places. An old truck driver at a truck stop saw me struggling to get into a spot. He could have just laughed, but instead he got out of his cab, walked over and calmly talked me through it. He didn't make me feel stupid. He just said, we're all new once, kid. Secret is to use your mirrors more than your eyes. That small act of kindness was a turning point. I started talking to other drivers, asking questions. listening. I learned that my old skills weren't useless. They just needed to be adapted. The discipline of a 3 a.m. alarm clock meant early starts were no problem. My knowledge of the city layouts was a huge help, especially because I used to service a lot of these stops that we have. Slowly, I started to get it. I was learning the language of the highway. My final exam came about 2 months in. It was a run out to the edge of the plains, the longest trip I'd taken. 1,100 miles to be exact. A massive storm was moving across the country and dispatch gave me the option to wait it out. But waiting meant losing money, and it felt like quitting. I looked at the radar, talked to the other drivers, and decided to push on. I told myself, "You've driven in blizzards for 15 winters, you could do this." The next day, the sky turned a bruised purple. The wind howled, pushing against my trailer like an invisible hand. Then came the rain, so heavy it was like driving through a waterfall. My knuckles were white on the steering wheel, palms sweating. This wasn't like a snowstorm in a garbage truck. The size of the semi made it a sail in the wind. Every gust threatened to push me out of my lane. Fear was a cold knot in my gut, and a voice in my head was screaming, "You're not cut out for this. Go back to trash. You messed up, dude." But then, all my training kicked in, the new and the old. I slowed down. I gave myself more space. I remember what the old driver told me: use your mirrors. I focused on everything around me. I thought about all those years handling a top-heavy truck on slippery streets. I had the muscle memory. I had the discipline. I found a calm center in the storm. As I pulled out of the depot, I felt different. I looked in the mirror on the side of my cab, and I didn't see a garbage man playing dress up. I saw a truck driver, a real one, king of the road. That feeling was worth more than any paycheck. The freedom I felt, knowing I'd conquered my fears and earned my place on that highway, that was the treasure I'd been looking for. The journey back was a journey into my new life. The world looked different. The contrast between my before and after got clearer with every mile. Before, my mornings were a race through the same sleeping streets. Now my mornings are dictated by sunrises over the new landscapes. Nebraska one day, South Dakota, the mountains. Instead of hearing the cling of the bins, my soundtrack is an audiobook I never had time for, or a podcast that I like listening to, punctuated by the crackle of the CB radio. My old life was measured in cul-de-sacs. My new one is measured in states and time zones. Lunch ain't the same places that I used to go to all the time. Now, I find myself in a diner in a town that I've never heard of, talking to people from all walks of life. The loneliness I feared turned into a peaceful kind of solitude. And you're never really truly alone out here. There's a community on the road, always ready with a piece of advice. This is my resurrection. I'm no longer just the guy that picks up your trash. I'm the part of the bloodline of your country's economy. The freight that I haul is the food in your store, all of your convenience items at gas stations, all the toxic sugary shit, all the candy. There's a purpose in that I never felt on my old route. The biggest lesson I've learned is that freedom isn't about having no responsibilities. It's about choosing them. I chose this. I chose this challenge. And every sunrise in my mirrors confirms I chose right. I'm not just driving a truck. I'm driving my own destiny. My journey wasn't just about escaping a bad job. It really wasn't even bad. It was just really about running towards a bigger life. I learned that your past, no matter what it is, it's never a waste. It's the foundation you build on. For me, 15 years of hauling garbage gave me the skills I needed to haul this freight. It taught me discipline, resilience, and how to handle a 10-ton vehicle before most people are even awake. The road to your dream won't be easy. There'll be doubt, setbacks, but it's just a setup for a major comeback. Pushing yourself through that fear and proving to yourself that you can do it. There's no other feeling like it. So what's your open road? What's the dream you've been putting off because you're comfortable or scared? Share it in the comments below. I want to hear from other people, just like I did in the trash industry. Are you ready to take on the wheel? And if this story hits home for you, give this video a like and subscribe. It lets me know that these stories matter and that we're all on this journey together. Thanks for riding along with me. You guys take care. Peace.